What is up, everybody? All right, so I'm going to be doing a weed control application today, not in the lawn because it's still holding up really well. Not really worried about that. I am starting to see some areas where the ground squirrels have been pooping the most. They are clearly bringing in some seeds from some weeds, and that will have to be dealt with eventually. I'm still waiting on my very special item to show up that's going to hopefully take care of them. But they're just little jerks. So anyway, what I am going to do today though is run a weed control application around the perimeter of the lawn, just on the outside where the sort of native soil is, in some of the beds, kind of down in anywhere where I could get potential blow in on the edges, including like a little gravel area here and along the fence line. I want to hit all of that. All in all, it's going to be about 2,000 to 3,000 square feet is about what it's going to be. So I didn't want to go with a non-selective herbicide. No reason to do that. Well, in my opinion, no reason to do that. I actually want to preserve some of the native grasses that are growing in there, and that this will not affect the native grasses that are growing. But the big pickup that I need to get rid of is thistle. Canada thistle is on the Utah noxious weeds list. It needs to be totally eradicated. So that's the one that I'm really the most, it's the biggest problem, I would say. So we want to get rid of that, and I'm actually going to do it through the hose and sprayer. I'm going to use the Chameleon for that because I use my ortho for all my fert, and I'm just not going to cross-contaminate the two, so I'm going to be doing it in here. And a rundown through exactly what I'm going to be using. I am going to be using T-Zone. Why am I going to be using T-Zone? Well, because I do want that pickup of the thistle that's on there. So it's got Triclopyr, Dicamba, 2,4-D, and Sulfentrazone. So safe to use on grasses, cool season grasses, as well as a couple warm season, Bermuda and Zoysia. You're safe to use it in there too. Follow the label on there on the warm season Bermuda and Zoysia. I think your rate is actually down to like 0.83 per thousand, 0.83 ounce, somewhere right in that range. For cool season, it's 1.2 to 1.5. I am going to go at the 1.5 rate. One of the reasons that I do like this material is it works when it's cool, and it's rain fast in 3 hours, but that's really good. So given the weather that we've been having, it's 62 degrees right now, so that can actually be challenging sometimes to kill some broadleaf when it's this cool. And it's actually going to get a little cooler Friday and Saturday, and we have another little system blowing through. So I want to go ahead and get this down, and then expecting warmer temperatures in the next week. It's supposed to start getting up, and for us, it's still very cool. I think that we're not going to have any highs getting above 75, and 40s at night still, so it's pretty chilly. So I'm going to mix that in here. In order to do what I need to do, I have about 4.5 ounces, and that's really not a whole lot. You know, I get like a 32 ounce of this. I go down to a turf supply store in Salt Lake City called Steve Regan. They carry everything. You know, they sell to homeowners and they sell to pros and everything else. But you know, I think something like this is 25 bucks or 30 bucks or something like that, and it'll last a long time. I mean, if I'm going off the label rate of 1.2 on this, I mean, I've got 28,000 square feet I could spray with this little bottle. That's not too bad. And it's obviously cheaper when you get into bigger, you know, gallons, 2.5 gallons, things like that. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to mix roughly so the 1.5 rate, say for 3,000 square feet roughly is what I'm going to go for. So I'm going to put 4.5 ounces into here. I am going to fill this with water nearly to the top, and I'm actually going to drop a couple ounces of aerate in there as well because it works as a surfactant. It's going to make this kind of jump a little bit more. So I'm going to do that. Got the gloves, making sure equipment's on today. You guys see me in flip-flops most of the time. I got boots on today, long pants. You know, make sure that you're following all the PPE stuff here, and you know, there's the whole label. I mean, you know, it's not a big deal to open these up and read through and just see what you're dealing with. You know, herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, it's not really a laughing matter. You really want to pay attention to the label, follow the label, don't overdo it, don't underdo it. I think that that's even more important. You don't want to start building up resistance. So you want to make sure that you get your rates right and go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this mixed up, hooked up. I'm actually going to be spraying with the wind. The wind is coming out of the south, so I'm going to have that at my back as I go through, so I'm not spraying on anything that I don't want hit, but pretty much just going to work my way through the beds around these areas where I just want to get the weeds out of, nowhere near my trees, and we're going to go about it that way. So let's go ahead and get this stuff mixed up and get it done. Okay, T-Zone app is done. Went ahead and knocked all that out. Everything over in here has been hit. So we'll check and see how that kill goes. The other thing I want to do today, it's been 4 weeks since I've fed, so I'm still not going to do that. I want to wait a little bit longer. But since it is getting warmer, I am going to go ahead and mix up D-Thatch because it's going to start getting into the warmer temps next week. And just go ahead and lay that down, because I still, with the color and the way that the lawn looks right now, I don't need any fert. So it's just coming up on 5 weeks since I put any 1801 out. But I mean, you know, the color is awesome. It's in super good shape. I have been mowing it at 1 inch. It's holding up really well. Again, the only thing that I'm dealing with out here is this rodent issue. It would look completely level. So the grass is growing, but they are putting a lot of stress on it. That's what this is right here. So they're just cutting down to the nubs, and anytime anything new tries to come up, they're just smoking it. And so if they sit here and, you know, they waste all over it, if they're peeing, if they're pooping, it's a lot of close contact right here to the soil surface, so it's making it hard for the grass to continue on. As far as the seeding goes, that is moving on in a good direction. More and more showing up every day, but that's also a concern because this is new growth, and I don't think it's going to take long before those little guys get over here, but it's coming in here, starting to come through. So this is going to fill in nice. I don't really have any concerns about that right now. So this little area should fill in pretty well. So as soon as I can deal with those guys, we're going to be in pretty good shape here. So I'm going to go ahead and just bust out a D-Thatch application, see if I can, you know, just kind of keep everything warm, moving along. You know, any of the grass clippings that have been going out, which honestly you can't see. The contact that I've got into the soil, between the plant and the soil, is fantastic. So I'm not really worried about anything building up. Let's see, there's the clippings, just taking off like 1/4 to 1/2 inch every time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that at a 9 ounce rate, spray it out real quick, and that should be it for today. Okay, so there you have it. Speed Zone SE app is done. D-Thatch app is done. Ran the D-Thatch at 9 ounces. I put a total of 4 ounces of Speed Zone into that sprayer, filled it with water, threw about 1 ounce, 2 ounces of aerate in there to kind of work a little bit as a surfactant. And, you know, sprayed everything all up along the edges there and down in here. Now, I broadcast that. That would be a very true sort of broadcast application. Didn't feel the need to run that with a backpack. I don't have anything I'm trying to get around. I didn't really need to be precise in these areas because it's more native. I obviously didn't hit the sagebrush. It's kind of easy to tell. Now, and with this wind, a little tip. If you're comfortable spraying in the wind, you know how to work your way through it. You need to work with the wind. Put it at your back, allow the mist to go forward. There is a certain amount of wind that's acceptable, and then beyond that, you probably shouldn't be spraying. Just wait until it calms down. But again, this is open. I'm not worried about drift. I've got open field around me here. There's no flowers or plants or anything I have to be aware of. So this is a very simple and much easier as far as the economies of time and scale to just go ahead and spray it out the hose and sprayer. And it worked just great. So you'll be seeing how that's dying back is, you know, maybe next video that comes out. And today's the last day of school for my kids, so I gotta go pick them up. But there you go. That's all we're doing for today. Quick knockout, and I'll see you guys all real soon. Talk to you later.